Good morning and welcome to Learning Life, Becoming Better with me, your host, Angela Taylor. Good to have you here on both Facebook Live and on YouTube Live each morning each Saturday morning beginning at 8 a.m. So we are here for this period of time so we can share some truth with you, so we can share just a little bit of just a few tidbits with you, just a few things that hopefully will encourage you, will hopefully um, give you some information to help you live this life a little better and learn maybe a little bit more about yourself and a little bit more about God, a bit more about how uh, this world works, and a little bit more about how you can do better working within this world and still be a good person. Yeah, it's possible. It is more than possible, actually. Not only are you supposed to be able to, not only are you able to work within this world and still be good, but you are able to impact this world and still be a good person. I know. When you look at everything that's going on, sometimes it seems like the ridiculous has more of an impact. It seems like the ignorant, the hateful, the insensitive is ruling this world. But that's not the case. You just see more of it. You really do. You just because you see more of it doesn't mean that there is more of it. Don't go by what you see. That's we always say that. It's not what it looks like. Don't go by what you see. Because we have, as humans, we have a tendency to remember and to remark upon the negative more than the positive. You know that. You know that. Make it personal and then think about it. Make it personal. Make it personal. Make it personal to you. If you just think about yourself as a person. Think about when you make a slight mistake or a slight error, or when you have, or when you make any mistake. Do certain people tend to remember those mistakes more than they remember all the good you've done? Do they remember the negative comment that you made or comments you made more than they remember the positive comments that you made? Do they remember the one time you didn't help them more than they remember the multiple times that you did help them? Then I've made my case. We have a tendency, and it's not just the people you know, it's you and it's me and it's everyone. It's humanity. We have a tendency to remark upon and to remember the unusual more than the usual. Call somebody up at the end of the day, and if they've had a regular humdrum day, you ask them how was their day, they'll say, my day was okay. How was yours? It's going to be kind of short. I did this, I did that. You call someone up and they've had something just unusual happen, then your conversation is going to be so much longer because we tend to focus more so on the unusual. And unfortunately, there's more unusual negative going on. Okay? So you can make a positive impact. And you probably are. Many of you are. Don't this is my word of encouragement, and then I'm gonna move on. Don't give up. Do not grow weary in your well doing. You may not see the impact. You may not see the impact right away. You may not see the impact at all. But understand there is an impact because it's not going to make the news. It's not going to make social media, but it's still going to happen. Most of us never get our 15 minutes of fame. That's okay. But you still live wonderful lives. You still make an impact in your home. You still make an impact in your community. You still make an impact on your job. So just because it didn't make the news, just because it didn't make social media, just because you didn't get an award, just because you didn't get a reward, doesn't mean that it didn't exist. It just means that it was not globally recognized. You still made an impact. And at the end of the day, that's what matters, right? That's what matters. So we are talking about small things that make a significant impact. Small things that make a significant impact. And there are a lot of small things that we do daily, weekly, monthly, annually, moment to moment that make a significant impact in our lives. And we don't recognize them because we only look at the final product. We only look at the so called big picture. Well, your big picture is made up of a whole lot of small details. Anytime, have you ever looked at one of, yes, you have. When you look at one of those paint by number sets and you look at the full picture and you see, and depending on which kind of paint by number set you got, you can see 1,000 little a thousand little spaces for with different numbers on them. They make up that one big picture. You are not going to remember those 1,000 little things. But those thousand, if you put a bold color in one of those small things, then it's going to make an impact on the overall picture. Later on, when you're looking back at it and you're like, is that a smudge? Is that, did somebody write on my painting? What is it? Makes everything you do makes an impact. And if you combine a lot of small things, then that whole picture is going to change. Hallelujah. Some of us, some of us want our whole big picture to change in certain areas. Yes, we do. So our scriptural reference goes back a couple of weeks ago. You might want to go back and look at that. But it was Matthew 13:33, Matthew 16:6. And for some reason, I have First Corinthians. I want to go there. Let me see why I have First Corinthians chapter 5 now. So let's go there real quick. 1 Corinthians chapter 5, verses 6 and 7. Your glorying is not good. Know ye not that little leaven leaveneth the whole lump? So that's why I have 1 Corinthians 5, 6, and 7. Matthew chapter 13, verse 33, and Matthew chapter 16, verse 6 are both where Jesus is talking about um, the little things, this a similar thing to what Paul is talking about in First Corinthians, that a little leaven, a little bit of something changes the whole thing. What I just said about the small things can change the big picture. Yeah, they said it better. So that's what those scriptural references for today, or in last week and the week before are, and that's what they're going to be. The small things. So today's small things are going to be dealing with finances, and it's going to be very quick. Might be finances, and we may not just spend one program on this. I decided to do finances at the last minute. Or not I decided. Lord told me to do finances at the last minute because He knows that some of you are going out. This is Labor Day weekend, and some of you are going out and you are making some decisions that are going to affect you for the next 4 months, 6 months, for the next year. And so, no one is telling you, God didn't tell me to say, don't spend your money on this, don't spend your money on that, don't spend. Nope, that's not what the Lord told me to do. He didn't tell me to say anything. He said, because they're not going to listen to you when you say, don't spend your money. When you tell people what to spend their money on, they're not going to listen to you because people spend their money on what they want to spend their money on. This is the advice that God wants me to give you as far as finances are concerned. This is a small thing that He wants each of us to do. God said, look at what you already have. Look at what you have. Not just look at it, but because most of us have a phone with a camera on it, take a picture. So, in your home, go through your home, take a picture of each room in your home. If you have special collections, take a picture of your collection. If you particularly like pots and pans, pull out all your pots and pans, take a picture, not of each one, take one big picture of them. If you like shoes, pull out all your shoes, take a picture of you've seen it on TV where they show the whole shoe collection. Take a picture of your shoe collection. If you like purses, like take a picture of all your purses. If you like buying your child books, take a picture of the books. Take pictures throughout your house. 2 reasons. First reason is it's good for insurance purposes. If you ever have a fire or if you ever have theft, also of your jewelry, anything. If you ever have a fire, if you ever have a theft, any loss, it's very good for insurance purposes. You may not have appraisals for everything. You may not have receipts for everything, and probably don't. Um, but you can always have a picture to prove the property that you have. So that's reason number one. Print the pictures out for the insurance purposes because you change phones. You know who you are. Some of you lose your phones, and sometimes your phone is stolen. Put those pictures in a safe place. Those of you who don't have Shutterfly right now has has a free shipping. Print 4x6s for about 6 cents each. So for those people who say, well, I don't have any money, I'm broke. Well, that means that you should only be taking about 5 pictures. And so 30 cents you should be able to afford 30 cents. That's what that means. Now, if you taking 50 pictures and you saying you broke, then that might tell you something. Second reason that the Lord wants you to take pictures of what you already have is because we have a tendency, we take for granted what we already have. When we have more than enough, we have extra cash, not extra. We call it that. Why do we say extra cash? Let's go to that small thing. How about we change our language? Because there's no such thing as extra cash. There's no such thing. We may have funds that are not allocated to a specific need, but we don't have extra cash. We don't have extra money. So if you have funds that are not allocated to a specific need, then you may want you may want to put those funds away for a time when you will have need. Second reason for you to take pictures of what you already have. Because many of us have what we need and then we go purchase what we want. So if you go and if you look at what you have and you say, I have what I need, and now I'm going to go purchase what I want, and you have no savings, then there's a problem because everyone needs a savings. Savings are not a want. You want me? I'll tell you my scriptural reference. My scriptural reference is Joseph. I'm not. If we many of us we know the story of Joseph, betrayed by his brothers, thrown into the dungeon, brought out of the dungeon because the Lord gave him the interpretation of dreams, put second in command under Pharaoh, interpreted Pharaoh's dream, said it means that there's going to be 7 years of plenty and then 7 years of lack. So knowing that plenty is not going to last all the time, guess what they did? They stored up for the time of lack. They used what they needed and they stored up. Now they didn't store up stuff that would be wasteful because if it's not going to last, why would you store it up? If you're going to have to throw it away before the 7 years is up. So you store it up. If you have all your needs met, and right now you are complaining about inflation, and everyone across the globe should see that right now finances are not what they were. And none of us know how long that's going to last. So if all your needs are met and you've taken your pictures, and I'm not talking about you've walked around and said, yeah, no, actually take the pictures because you need it again. One, for insurance purposes, and if you don't have insurance, that's the need. That's a need because you never know yeah. That's a necessity before your next purse purchase. Okay? If you already have one purse to carry your things, you don't need another one. You want one, but that's not a need. So, during this time, so the other day, if they have meat on sale to what it was 2 years ago, and you're able to stock up and store it, and you're a meat eater, then do that. Don't go buy the cakes and the cookies because the cakes and the cookies will never be a need. Your children will need food, good food, before they will need snacks. Yeah, they will. They will need you to prepare some food before they will need the processed food that some of you are continuously giving your children, regardless of the fact that every nutrition expert, every nutrition guideline says that processed foods are not good for us. Yes, they do taste good. And yes, I do eat them, but not in excess. But anyways, let me not even go there. That's for later. That's for when we get to health and nutrition. So if you have funds that are not specifically allocated to a need, store them up. How much savings do you need? You know. I don't know. Maybe you don't know. God knows. And I know that many of you are saying right now, the saying, and it just came to me, God will supply my every need. What about that? What about that, evangelist? God will supply my every need. Where is that? God will supply my every need. And I am not saying that he won't. Because I'm going to tell you, God will supply my every need, and God has supplied my every need. He is a provider. God is a provider, and God will supply your every need. Are you wasting it? It's a difference. There is a difference between God supplying it and you wasting it. The fact that you have the funds that are not allocated to a specific need is God's supply. You wasting it on things that you don't need, you wasting it. You him giving you, him supplying you with the ability to earn, him supplying you with the ability, with the opportunity to earn, him, God giving you, pouring blessings into you over and over and over. That's God. You wasting your substance, throwing it away on this or Spending it on that, and I'm talking about financial because we're doing financial now, but you can go ahead and apply it to wherever area of your life you need to. But you throwing your money away, not throwing it away, but spending your money on other things that are not necessities, that's you. That's you. So when you are in lack, that is not God, that's you. Quit blaming your lack on God. He did supply. He did. That's how you have all that junk that you need to get rid of in your house to begin with, or in your apartment, or in your room. I had this fella tell me one time, he said, "You know, I only have two pair of shoes." And I looked at him and I said, "Well, you know, you only have one pair of feet." And he looked at me like I was crazy. I guess he thought I was going to say something different. See, that's what you get for getting out of the people's business. Because we were talking about shoes. I only have two pairs. You only have one pair of feet. So are the second pair needed? Nope. Why'd you buy a second pair? You can only wear one at a time. That's just my for example. Doesn't matter what level of finances you have. Doesn't matter. I have way more than two pair of shoes, and that's he kind of jumped into a conversation I was having with someone else. I have way more than two pair of shoes because I spend my money on what I want to spend it on, just like you do. I spend it on my needs and I spend it on my wants. But sometimes there are some people who say, I can't spend money on my wants because I have just enough for my needs. And they don't realize that they actually have more than what they need. God has supplied more than what they need because they are comparing themselves to someone else. God gave in the New Testament, because I gave you an Old Testament reference. Let me give you a New Testament. God, Jesus gave two parables on finances, on God giving talents. One to one, five to another, 10 to another. The one buried his, the five doubled his, the 10 doubled his. The one that buried his gave a reason why he buried his. Now he's the one that received the least amount. He was the one that really needed to double his, but he buried it because he didn't think it was. Do you think you don't have enough? Every little bit, small things, every little bit counts. Every little bit counts. Every Yes, I will walk by a quarter on the ground and I will pick it up. Every little bit counts. Every little bit counts. Every little bit counts. I don't know why the scripture don't despise small things. It's coming to my mind, but I'm pretty sure I'm taking that out of context. But every little bit counts. Every small things make a significant impact. You have enough small things, especially those of us who are in so in America, and I'm speaking primarily to Americans. That's most, and I know some of my audience is in different countries, but we have actually in the world we have 10% of the people are just wealthy. That's the millionaires, billionaires. We have probably, and I'm just these are round numbers. 30% of the people live in just poverty. I'm talking about, let's say 20%. 20% of the people live in poverty where they have no health care, they have no home, they have no, just kind of inhumane circumstances. And there really is the whole society or the whole um, there's no infrastructure is what I'm trying to say, um, that is there to help them. That's about 20% of people. The other 70% of us range are in there. We're just we used to be called middle class. We're basically just poor. We range from poor to upper middle class. That's kind of depending on where you want to call yourself. Okay? You have more than enough. Choose wisely what you are spending your finances on because your time of plenty does not last forever. Now, your time of lack does not last forever either. If anything, the Bible should show you that the economy goes up and down. It is not constant. Remember, the only thing that's constant in life is God. The only thing that's constant in life is God. And He will always be a provider. But He said there's going to be a famine. So I provided. I provided. I provided. I put together Pharaoh. I put together Joseph. I provided 7 years of plenty. Do you hear me, people? I provided seven. God says He provided 7 years of plenty. He did supply. Then there were 7 years of lack. There were 7 years of drought. That was God too. Are you in your dry season asking God, where's my supply? Well, the answer is you wasted it. So don't let this be your supply season and you waste it and you're wasting what you have. Okay? Don't start putting stuff in layaway for your so kids can have a Christmas. We have Christmas because Jesus died for us. I'm sorry, because Jesus was born for us. Because God gave us Jesus. That's why so everybody has a Christmas, whether they recognize it or not. You can pare down on the Christmas gifts. You can look and see. Think about take a picture of the stuff from last year and see what went over well and what didn't, and what still exists, and make an informed. That's a wonderful word we like using now. Make an informed decision. Inform yourself. Inform yourself about your finances. Learning life, becoming better. Let's stop going through the same cycle, people. Let's stop going through the same cycle. God is a provider, He's a keeper, He's a supplier. He owns the cattle, He owns every actually we say that, but God owns everything. He the earth and everything therein. And He's our Father. He's our Father. So no, you're not supposed to live with among the pigs, eating the same thing that they eat. But if that's what you choose to do, make some better choices. Just some small things. Whether with two things, take pictures of the things in your house for two purposes. One, insurance purposes. Now, if you keep the pictures in a place that's not fireproof and a fire happens, so one, for insurance purposes. Two, so that because y'all know y'all scroll back on y'all phone for everything. So that you can look and see what you already have. You don't have to have a bank account to have savings. I've seen many different methods. I've seen the envelope method where people put money in an envelope, and on the envelope, and envelopes, you can get them 50 for $1.25 at different places. And they put on the envelope savings. You don't have to put anything on. Put vacation. You can put trip, whatever you want. And I noticed that between the in that 70% between the poor and the upper middle class, that the whole idea of Christmas changes as you go up on the financial ladder. So as you go up on the financial ladder, providing a Christmas goes from what gifts am I giving to what gift am I giving. So it goes from gifts to how many as you go. So when you're lower on the financial ladder, it's the quantity of gifts, how many. When you start getting higher on the financial ladder, it is the quality. What gift am I giving? What um, am I getting this person an iPad or Xbox or a new phone? And then the quality of that gift goes up. Am I getting them a car or and then when you hit a certain point, then the gift becomes not a gift, but Christmas becomes where are we vacationing? So as you go higher on the financial ladder, then I keep saying ladder because the envelope thing is still stuck in my head. But as you go higher on the ladder, it goes from gifts to how many gifts to a particular gift. Then Christmas becomes where are we going to vacation? So the emphasis is no longer on gifts, it's on where are we going to vacation. And then at the very highest level where we now go past the upper middle class to that 10%, that millionaire billionaire status, now it becomes Who am I going to spend it with? Just think about that. Just think about that ladder. When you're trying to make what you spend your money on so important, just think about that. Right. So you get to choose what you spend your supply on. And we're only, remember, today is only about finances. But God does supply. And I just thank God He's a supplier. Thank God He's a provider. I thank God that He imparts wisdom to us. If any lack wisdom, ask for it. That's in James. If any lack, ask for wisdom. Lord, how do you want me to invest this money? No. Do you want me to put this money in envelopes? No. Do you want me to put this money in some jars? No. Do you want me to give this money to my church? Maybe. Do you want me to do you want me to pay back the people I owe? Maybe. Do you want me to invest in the freezer and purchase some meat for some lean times? Maybe. Do you want me to stash some of this away in cash? Maybe. Do you want me to purchase some jewelry? Whatever. Ask God. Because if He supplied it with, He knows what's going to happen in your life in particular. Do you want me to put it away for the business that I'm going to finally start? Ask God. Ask God. But He's already said, take a picture because you do not remember the usual. We don't. We do not remember the day to day things we do. We do not remember the purchases we make. We look back at the end of the month and we say, where did my money go? And if we didn't write it down, if we didn't hold on to receipts, if we don't look back at our card statement, even if we do, we're like, what did I buy from Marshalls? What in the world did I get from being conscientious about our purchases and knowing there's no such thing as extra money? Our funds that are not allocated to our needs, have some savings and then allocate those funds to something else. Whether it is to your new purse or to a vacation or to your children's college fund or to some more Christmas gifts, whatever it is that you are going to spend your money on, whatever it is you're going to spend your finances on, be intentional about it, but know where it's going. Small things that will make a significant impact on your finances. Then you will at least know where your money went at the end of the month, at the end of the year. Believe me. Believe, believe, you know what? Don't believe me. Believe God. Believe God. A little leaven, a little knowledge, a little change, a little remembrance, a little wisdom in your finances will have a large impact. God can change that quarter of a dollar into $250,000. Yes, He can. He can. He's well able. Just believe. All right. Be blessed. And hopefully you will join me next Saturday at 8 a.m. on both Facebook Live and YouTube Live on Learning Life, Becoming Better. And we are going to continue our series on small things. And our main scriptural reference will still be the same. It's just we're applying it to different parts of our life. I'm sending a shout out to my husband of 28 years, 364 days. Nope. Yep, 364 days. Tomorrow we have our 29th anniversary. Love you. Love you. Love you always. And I thank everyone for joining me today. And I thank God for keeping us 29 years. 29 years tomorrow. We will have been married. And I just thank God for that. God is a keeper. He has supplied me with a wonderful husband, and he has supplied him with a good thing. Yep. He has supplied him with a wonderful wife, and he has supplied both of us with two wonderful sons. And he has supplied us with a life that we are learning each and every day to live to its fullest so we can become better people. We can become better children of His. We can become better us. God bless you. God keep you. In Jesus' name, have a great week.